Hello everyone, Bertina Amy here, and welcome to my channel. Okay, so in today's video, I thought we would go ahead and work on this vision board bag. And we're coming up closer and closer to the year 2026. But I thought for today's video, I would go ahead and also do a reflections portion as well. Meanwhile, I want to repurpose this bag, and I had honestly debated between going ahead and just using the back side or cutting it up and use the back side of the side I already painted. Then I thought it might be a neat idea to, over time, after maybe about 10 years or so, I would like to create a sort of collection of these and create sort of a book. So in order to do that, it makes more sense to just go ahead and cut this up. Then for both pieces, I go ahead and fold the edges down more firmly with my scissors. And any sections that are still connected to the bottom piece, I just cut them up and cut out any excess. I don't want excess amount of bulkiness, but I do want to go ahead and glue down the flaps as well as the bottom flaps. But the excess piece can also be filled in areas that don't have any excess glued down. I hope that makes sense. And I go ahead and do this for both pieces because the piece that doesn't have anything on it will be used for the following 2 years. So once all my edges are glued down into place and excess pieces are glued into a spot that doesn't have any overlaps, then I go ahead and pull out my Mod Podge. This bottle is from Dollar Tree, but you can make your own by watering down some Elmer's glue. And I think the ratio is 1:1. Don't quote me on that, but that should work either way. In fact, even with the Dollar Tree's version, I do like to water it down because it's very, very thick. And I go ahead and use it to help Mod Podge down a bunch of different old tissue paper I have lying around. And you might want to call me a hoarder for this, but I do keep all old tissue paper because I absolutely love Mod Podging tissue paper onto stuff. So this project is no different. And the idea here is to completely cover up the entire surface of the bag with some overlap because I don't want any of those original sort of brown paper bag look appearing through. Even though the white's kind of transparent, it won't matter because we're going to paint over it anyways. Then to make this year a little bit different than last year's, I decided to go ahead and go with this watered down Laguna paint from Apple Barrel. And while it doesn't look pretty right now, please trust the process and keep going. Then once dry, go ahead and use the next color you want. In this case, I'm using my Serum Coat, I think it's how you pronounce it, metallic blue paint from Dollar Tree. Watered down into a cup so that we could spread it further and also get the colors that we want out of it. Then I thought that this was too bright, so I go ahead and go in with my Folk Art blue metallic paint, watered down as well. Then once dry, I still felt it was way too shiny, which shiny isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was so bright that I wanted some more dimension out of it, so I decided to water down some black chalk paint I have on hand and then do a wash with that as well. So while I set that aside to dry, I go ahead and dig through some old cards I had lying around, and I thought it was kind of perfect that I have this box labeled Inspirations, which originally came from my parents' house. My mom must have bought it some years ago. I don't remember how many years ago because you can tell it's really, really old, as no part of the cards or envelopes are white anymore. But I thought this would be perfect for this project because I don't see any purposes in which I'm going to be using this in the future. I'm really bad at using up old sets of cards that I have on hand, and instead I just go to the store and buy a new one for someone. In fact, let me know in the comments below, are you like this too? Because I kind of feel like maybe this is just me. So from this stack, I found one that looks like it's kind of a lavender shade, and I thought that'd be closer to the purple on the 2025 year for this manifestation bag. And I go ahead and cover up the God Plus part with the butterfly since it doesn't fit the purpose of this project. I just wanted it to say Reflections 2025 instead. So I just use the 3D stickers from Dollar Tree of butterflies, and I select one that most closely matches the card itself and place it over the word. Then I go ahead and take some blank sticker sheets and go ahead and cut it down to size and place it over the words so that I can write my reflections. I go ahead and write what went well and what never happened. And I go ahead and ink the edges on the outside of the card as well. And then I go ahead and add the title Reflections 2025 in my purple ink pad. And that way the inked edges and the written words are all in the same shade of purple. Then I go ahead and stick it inside the matching envelope that I also inked and wrote Reflections 2025 on. And then I go ahead and seal it using my finger and my saliva, since this is just for me and I'm not giving it to anybody. Then I take an extra dragonfly hair clip and I just use that as a paper clip instead of an actual paper clip, and I'm going to clip that to the front part of the bag where it says 2025. Then I looked at the bag, saw that it dried, and wasn't happy with how far pushed back it was with the last wash, so I redo it with more black paint inside the watered down black paint and do another wash one more time until it dried. Next, and this part is optional, I go ahead and take a scrap bit of cardboard and create a template to make dragon scales with. And I make a single scale with an outline, cut it out, then trace it over my bag with silver Sharpie over and over again until I get the pattern I desired. And again, like I said, this is totally optional. There were a few times I accidentally used my Sharpie and it touched the bag, so what I did was I took a little bit of saliva onto my finger and rubbed it off immediately so that way it wouldn't stay there permanently, and that worked very well. And this bag is also just for me, it's not going to be gifted to anybody. However, if you decide to gift something like this to somebody, I would avoid using your saliva for that reason. Then for this year, I decided to print out my intended images onto cardstock because I have plenty of cardstock on hand and I didn't want to order images through raw grains like I did last time. So I just go ahead and cut out my images, ink the edges in purple since that is my favorite color, play around real briefly to figure out the arrangement, and I definitely wanted to cover up a marking that I didn't even notice while I was making this earlier. So I go ahead and put the largest image over top and create my arrangement around that. Then I realized this was missing something, and that was the year it's intended for, which is 2026. So I take some scrap cardstock and write the year 2026 in a Sharpie, cut it down to size, and ink the edges in purple too. Then I thought a better way to make sure I incorporate my style of DIYs, I pull some scrap burlap ribbon to make it more purposeful, and I decided to go ahead and ink that in purple as well just to give it some color, because that way it's not just natural, and so it tries to kind of blend in with the bag a little bit, or at least match a little bit in some way. And I go ahead and hot glue that underneath the 2026 cardstock. And here's the final result. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you know that I am currently selling personally designed t-shirts based off of my upcoming book, The Cancer Dragon? Here I'm unboxing some orders from coworkers who I'm very grateful to for supporting my mission. If you were to ask me honestly, the idea for this logo came from my DIY Cancer Dragon wreath. My husband bought me a shirt once that said, "I kicked cancer's ass," but because of where I work, HR would have had a hissy fit over that, so I decided to design my own. To me, there's something to be proud of in becoming a Cancer Dragon Slayer, and I really hope my journey inspires you. I never planned on designing shirts for this, but as I kept creating and finding ways to express my life story, it just happened. I thought to myself, who else might love a shirt like this? On the back, the sayings are made for slayers, warriors, supporters, and even for honoring lost warriors. These shirts were created with all of you in mind, and I was so happy with the design that I wanted to make it available for anyone who feels connected to this journey. Okay, so here's the cover so far for my upcoming book. The basic gist of it is, I became diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, got pregnant during fertility treatments, refused to abort, despite my doctor's warnings that I'd die at birthing my child. For book updates or to support me, scan the code or click the link below. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.